Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host Scotty McCoy, and boy do I have a surprise for all of you. I have on Zoom with me right now Mike Katz, and he is going to be playing Dawson in the upcoming indie horror film Reunion from Hell 2. Hey Mike, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great. This is amazing. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, not a problem. I know I've been saying this with a lot of people that I've interviewed from the movie. I was supposed to be in it.
And I was so sad to see you drop out. So nice to be able to connect this way, at least for the time being.
Absolutely. I know I've been seeing a lot of behind the scenes pictures. I'm really upset. I'm really regretting not going. Like I couldn't help it. My family got COVID and they were going to be my ride down there. And fortunately, for the better half of everybody on set, I had no choice but to drop because I didn't want to risk them getting anything,
No, definitely the right way to go. But you were definitely missed. Sorry you couldn't be a part
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you. Yeah.
part three, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard so many amazing things from set, and I saw so many amazing pictures. But the first question before we get into Reunion from Hell 2 is, how did you get your start into acting?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I know these past couple of years, a lot of folks, with things not being open in public, they found new hobbies or dedicated more time to old hobbies and just found themselves in different ways. So I actually, my other endeavors are remote, so I can kind of travel, wherever.
Nice.
I have the flexibility. So I saw a ad for they were making a movie, Clown Motel 2, out in the desert. So it's role play. So if your listeners are familiar with it, Role Motel out in Nevada, about 3 hours from Vegas. Typical tiny desert town, middle of nowhere. Role place, you can stay the night. There's like a million clowns in the lobby. All the rooms are decorated. Very clown-esque. And it's great. I mean, it's literally next to an old cemetery. So, I mean, clowns freak people out. So it just has that eerie feeling. But anyway, they were shooting a sequel there. Saw the first one, and I saw an ad that they were making the second one on location. And I just said, F it, nothing else is going on. I messaged the director online, never met him before, and said, hey, do you, if this isn't too late, do you need anybody else to fill any parts with? And he actually replied back and said, if I can make it out there, he'll put me up. And just met a lot of good folks out there, and the rest is history. Got my start doing that, and I've been kind of moving along since.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing. So I guess, how did you become part of Reunion from Hell 2? How did you get this role as Dawson?
Sure. So back in Clown Motel 2, a couple of folks I met, Dustin, he works for Hellfire Radio, and I'm still with them as we speak, almost a year and a half later. So Hellfire, we run podcasts, it's horror, mostly horror related and pop culture. So he's the CEO of Hellfire Radio, and I've been with them as a content creator, been on some podcasts with them, developing shows. And so earlier this past, or actually it would have been last year, in the summer, we went to a couple of conventions, and we helped run the Q&As, the lighting, some of the background, nuts and bolts. And one of the cons we happened to go to was Tidewater, and Hayden happened to be there as a guest. And we were vendors promoting Hellfire Radio and some of our acting gigs. And Hayden was a guest promoting, of course, Reunion 1 had probably just come out a couple months prior. And he was talking about Reunion 2 coming out. And I just happened to moderate his Q&A. I was just chosen to, each one of us at Hellfire was doing different Q&As. And just by happenstance, I was his. So never met before, just, he did promotions, talked about, Hayden, what he was doing, the upcoming movie. And then I actually sounded intriguing because, it's obviously, as you know, it's holiday themed, a lot more graphic than the first. And I had not seen the first at that time. And after the Q&A was done, I said, hey, that actually sounds kind of neat. If you have any, have a need for any additional parts, happy to chat. And we kind of kept in contact, saw each other again with the DP, Sam and Jonna, at another con in October, Scarefest, and talk more about it there, and just happened to be the right role and able to come on board. Got a copy of the first one from Tidewater, and actually was this is actually really cool. It's actually really neat. There's a lot of slashers out there, but I was like, wow, this is real characters, real dialogue, authentic. It's just a good old-fashioned slasher, nothing beat you over the head with anything. It's just gory entertainment. So I was like,
Absolutely.
happy to be on board. So,
Absolutely, and I apologize to Hayden if you're watching this, but I haven't seen the first one yet. It's on my bucket list, but I've been so busy, and I was gonna watch it before I ended up going down there to film, but I didn't get a chance to. Obviously, I ended up having to drop the project, and I hadn't gotten a chance to watch it since. And I'm trying to find the time now with being picked up, by a company, for my book, that I'm trying to breathe basically.
Oh sure, no, we can. And like you said earlier before we started taping, congrats on that book deal. But if you have downtime, yeah, you really should check it out.
I heard some amazing things about it from a lot of contacts, and I can't wait to see this. I know Hayden put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in the first one. I can only imagine what went into the second as well.
Oh, he definitely did, and he actually has a really keen eye for just who he wants for these roles. Like when you see the first one and when the second one comes out, it's just who he finds to just get these parts. It's just, he has a knack for just being able to figure out who can bring what. So like the acting, in both of them, of course, but he just really outstanding, and the storyline.
Absolutely. So I guess everybody's is wondering, and if they haven't seen any of my previous Reading from Hell 2 interviews, they're probably wondering, well, you're talking about Reading from Hell 2, but what is this movie? Can you let us know a little bit about it?
Sure. And this is just the description that's up on the public page. It's not giving anything away. So it picks up a couple years after the first one. Of course, Hayden, the main character Riley, survived the events of the first one. There was, a crazy killer out with, and they had, I won't say what the agenda was since you haven't seen it yet, but after, after the events of the first one and after those loose ends are wrapped up, Riley's trying to move past those events and gets a bunch of his friends together to go up into a cabin for the holiday time, to spend time with family, other folks. Basically, it's we moved past all this, moved past all the horror. Want to get my closest friends and family and just spend the holidays together. And then, of course, as we all know, things start happening again.
Yep, absolutely.
So as the title states, it's another reunion, but very helpful.
Yep, absolutely. So your character you play is known as Dawson. So what can you tell us about Dawson? I guess without giving a little too much away. I don't know how much you're allowed to give away, but yeah.
Oh, sure. So actually, like one of the, I kind of alluded to earlier about the people he finds to fit the actors and actresses' parts. Another thing that's really neat about the two movies, I think, is like each character has a purpose. There's really, obviously some characters come and go more than others, but each character is fleshed out. So Dawson has, he's one of the main friends of the group, and so him and Riley had a past kind of off screen, meaning in between 1 and 2, right? Like it's alluded to, they had a good past that they met, and through Riley, Dawson was able to make friends with everybody else in the group and kind of find his way to kind of get acclimated. So it's not just and the other characters as well, other new characters that aren't from part 1, they have their own backstory as well. Either they were friends with Riley, in between 1 and 2, or they knew somebody else, or they knew Riley's family members. So really, so that's who Dawson is. Him and Riley, they met in between the events of the first and second one, and they just got to be really good friends. And then when the second one starts, everybody's now going up to the cabin for the holidays.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be great. I became really good friends with Hayden, and I really wanted to work with him. I really did. He became a good friend of mine that I really want to meet him. So speaking about Hayden, how was he as a director for this movie?
Hayden and everybody was great. Like the entire cast and crew was amazing. And Hayden, as I said already a couple times, the knack of having, it's interesting when you have a knack for casting people that fits what's on page with the script and the vision. Then when you start filming the scenes and getting things put together, it's also that vision of how you want them to act this way or that way. So so we'll do multiple takes, right, which as part of it. I mean, him and his director, as a director, he's great. Like, great to work with. Allows people to give their own feedback, their own input, and obviously, somebody is better than others, but everybody has a voice to say, hey, what do you think about this? Or maybe we should do this. Oh, that's great. Or, well, maybe we should do this instead. Okay,
Right.
that's fine
Exactly.
too. But definitely, since day one, and even I was told this before I come on board, that like the way Hayden works is, really just, yeah, he values ideas, values inputs, and it definitely makes for better, collaboration, better, group chemistry, and I think it's better overall product, and people are just, genuinely enjoying themselves.
Absolutely.
And then, another shout out to, Sam and Jana, which you haven't met, I don't know if you met them.
I never met them. I was really looking forward to it. And Jana was so sad when I had a drop. She really loves me. I had them on the show twice, but yeah.
They're both amazing. And so, Sam, is the one, behind the camera, actually, wanting to get, the best angles, the best lighting, and the best takes. I mean, I mean, they know what they're doing, and the three of them together, yeah, they're great to work with.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And obviously, outside of course yourself and Hayden and the other cast and crew that were involved, Darren and all that, there was there was three people that came in from the iconic cult classics, so to speak. And the first one we had Kathy Podwell, and in this one we have Lisa Wilcox, Danny Hassel, and Mark Panton, all from their respective A Nightmare on Elm Street. Lisa and Danny, first time they're working together since Nightmare 5. So what was it like? It must have been so surreal to be working with the likes of Lisa, Danny, and Mark.
I mean, I know the phrase gets thrown out a lot, and everybody says the same thing about, no matter what it is, right? It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm working with these iconic alumni, and grew up watching this. So as cliche as it sounds, it's the truth. I mean, we all, as horror fans, grew up, watching Elm Street, and it's one of my favorite series. So to be, I mean, not just, and going to, we all go to conventions, so it's, we go to a horror con, you get a quick meet and greet, get to say hello, maybe get a signature, and then that's it. You're lucky if you can, lucky if you can get a good combo out of them, because it's so crowded. When you actually get to work with them and act with them, it's just obviously a whole different level. You get to know people personally and just see what they do with their craft. I mean, as you said, it really was surreal. I mean, like Danny is hilarious. He's got a lot of good stories. Mark, we all, he was such a great guy, very soft spoken, but he fit in well. He loved the experience. And Lisa, of course, or at least Lisa, of course, from part 4 and 5, like Danny, she's a master of her craft. I mean, they all are, right? But she, it's just amazing watching her go from, relax 1 second, then, character the next.
From 1 to 100 really quick.
Right. I mean, and all three are masters. Don't get me wrong, but it's just trying to distinguish between the three of them a little bit.
Yeah.
But, no, it was great. I know some people had, I'm trying to think of which ones I had more scenes with, and of course it seems like it was a blur now, just a couple of weeks ago that we finished, or last week we finished wrapping. But definitely was lucky enough to be on screen with I think all of them.
Absolutely. And I know I had Lydia Manson on the show right before you filmed, the week of filming. She was actually probably going to Tennessee within the next couple of days, and exactly what she said is how I would have felt. Like, these are people I grew up watching. She's like, how I have to be professional, but how can you be professional and not fangirl?
Yeah, it's right. It's really one of those, like, mindsets of, you want to show your appreciation, but also you don't want to come across as, that person, right? That they see it on over the years, and and even afterwards, right? Like, even when we're not filming and people are sitting around having maybe a drink or just joking around, and it's still one of those things where, okay, I don't want to say the wrong thing, because even now everybody's relaxed. I still don't want to, it's how do you, I mean, it's, at least for me personally, it's still keeping my guard up, and it's because I just don't want to let it down too much and say like the wrong stupid thing. It's weird, in a good way, but yeah, Lydia, probably it's 100%. I know
Yeah,
exactly what
absolutely. And it's like, because like you said, you whether or not you are filming, you're still with these people that are in the industry, and you want to have fun, but you also want to act as professional and mature as possible, no matter how much you want to say, can I get a picture?
yeah, and they were right, and they were great about, and they were super great about that too.
Yeah,
They know it's part of the job, and there's
yeah.
and people, and it was, yeah, just good to be around them, good to just
Hmm.
observe, and they were happy to share stories as well. But it's
Absolutely.
they they probably heard every question
Yeah.
100 times over, but they were still enjoying it. But at least from my perception, they were still enjoying themselves.
That's awesome. So, this next question might be a little hard. I mean, it might with spoiler territory, but like, what do you believe the best part about filming Rooney from Hell 2 was, and what about the worst?
Best and the worst. Uh, you know, if you were to talk to people, some people might have the same answer for both of those questions. So we filmed, so the majority of it was filmed at a cabin. So we were all inside a cabin, right?
Mhm.
Like the stories, a bunch of
Yep.
friends at the beginning, they go up to the middle of, literally
Mhm.
middle of nowhere. I mean,
Yep.
and it felt like it, and it felt like it too. I think our water actually, this is not in the movie, but like in real time, our water ran out, and they had to actually bring trucks up to
Oh
dump
my
well water back in. Like we're a little bit off the main grid. Yeah, that wasn't really the worst part. I mean, I I don't mean the some days being around everybody in the same environment where you eat and film and sleep at, is a great experience. And I could see some people thinking it just gets you after a while because you're
Yeah.
surrounded by everybody at the same time, and it's just
Yeah.
constant excitement, which I thought was great. It was all about the experience. So
Hmm.
I think for me, that's probably the best part.
Okay.
For me, was just the way it was done. You know, we just stayed where we were. So
Nice.
went to bed, woke up, and you know,
Did anybody like share rooms, or did everybody have their own room?
so it was almost like playing musical couches in a way every night. I think the alumni might have. There's a couple bedrooms, and I think the alumni might have been in there just to
Yeah.
and a little bit of well, a little bit, a lot older than us. They're used to
Mhm.
their ways. Probably not as used to doing you know
Yeah.
musical couches and beds like the rest of us are. So we gave them their privacy. I think
Mhm.
that generation, what they're and they earn that as well, being in the industry all
Yeah.
these. So which was fine, but there's more than enough space. We had couches downstairs, recliners, other beds. I mean, honestly, no, I mean, not really any issues. You would think
That's
that
awesome.
if something
Yeah,
happened,
and like you
more than
said, they definitely earned that like own bedrooms. I mean, they're in not. It's not like they're in a random movie. Like they're in A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Lisa and Danny were in two of them.
yeah, and right, there were two of them, and Mark, of course, he
Yep.
was, and he probably started a little bit even earlier than them, and
Yep.
you
Yep.
don't want to, it's just like how would we look if we invited iconic alum like that to say, hey, come be with us, we'll let the we'll let the 20-year-olds have the rooms, and we'll let the you guys fight over the couch. It's like, you really can't do that, but
Yep.
honestly, I mean, it worked out fine. Again, more than
Absolutely.
enough space, and again, it's kind of added to the experience. It was all of us under one roof. It was
That's
amazing.
great. So, what do you believe was the most challenging part filming your scenes?
I'll be honest. So my first scene that I filmed, Lisa was it involved Lisa, so it was really just getting over that,
Yeah.
fan person,
Yeah.
almost intimidation, thinking, oh
Yeah.
my God, I'm in a scene with like, I mean, like, all,
Yeah.
we walk in, we walk up to the cabin, everybody greets everybody, and she's there. So it's like really almost, I felt like almost being thrown into the gauntlet automatically, right? Like no
Right.
warm up. Here's one of the alumni, which was again amazing to share a scene, but it was the first scene that I worked on. So,
Yeah.
a little from my own mental challenge just to get used to the surrealness of that.
Right.
So, I mean, if that's the worst thing to happen, then
Yeah.
no big deal. But as far as everything else goes, I mean, you know, I wouldn't call. I mean, the worst, but not even really a bad thing necessarily. You know, we're on top of a mountain. You know, we made day trip. You know, folks would make day trips to the store as needed to get supplies, so that was always fine. But you know, I guess I don't know. Me being a creature of habit, living in the city,
Hmm.
I guess you know at midnight I really can't just leave to go. You know, walk down to the store like I'm used to here, or just go
Yeah.
out. You know, like grab like a snack that we don't have. Again, not the
Yeah.
biggest deal in the world. So
Right.
yeah, if that's the worst thing about it, then
Then that's pretty
yeah, it's
damn
no big
good.
deal, right? So you're right. Again, so I mean, I'll back to the acting. The most challenging thing about it was for me, my first scenes involved Lisa,
Mhm.
and then maybe Danny as well. So just getting used to that mindset of
Yeah.
not getting distracted and staying focused.
Yeah. Hayden told me that I was going to be acting with Lisa. I'm like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to even be able to speak.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, again, I mean, they're all three, you
Yeah.
know, masters of their craft. You know, here she didn't know you can just definitely tell when she's in the zone. She just
Yeah.
is there. So it's getting over that initial
That's awesome.
hesitation.
So did everybody get to the cabin at the same time, or did people like just did you all have a meeting point and all travel together because it was on this big hill? Or
All different itineraries,
okay,
and one of our, I think he's a producer on this as well. So James Stokes,
yeah,
he's plays Sheriff Mike. He was amazing. He actually would do airport runs for folks back and forth, and
okay,
did it with a smile on his face. And it was probably a good hour each way up and down this mountain. We had to go up like we're on top of a mountain, like literally. It's I mean, cell phone service drops. You're like one-way traffic. I mean, I don't know how the idea came up to build these cabins up there, but if a car or vehicle were to come from the opposite direction, you would literally have to, you know, just I don't know, back up, try not to kill up the side or do something. But
wow,
anyway, everybody arrived at different times. James would go pick people up, bring them back. And when we left the set, James would do the same thing. I landed and actually took an Uber there because I was, I'm used to that. I'm like, oh, I'll save people a trip. I don't know what people's schedules are. And
right,
actually, GPS got us lost. And my Uber driver and I literally spent 45 minutes, no joke, in pitch black, like late at night, just trying to find this damn place. Like GPS was
wow,
wrong. There were these signs, like literally, there were signs, no joke, that says your GPS is wrong. Please turn around. But that's how remote we were, and how
oh my
off the
gosh,
grid. Yeah, once you get off the main road. So anyway, just to give a little more context. But yeah, people arrive at different times. It was usually between Thursday and Friday.
okay,
A few people might have got there Wednesday, and then
yeah.
most were there by Friday afternoon.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. So, when you first read the script, what were your initial reactions about it?
First read the script, initial reactions. Really, how it just like a lot of sequels, not I won't say do, but like a lot of sequels should, it just ups the ante from the first. And you haven't
Yeah,
seen the first one yet, but I'll just say, you have, what, like what horror fans want. You have some good kills, some
yeah,
good scenes, some good chemistry. Um, kind of what I alluded to, where each character really just seems fleshed out. No
yeah,
pun intended, right? It just has a purpose to be there. So I think even in some of the more, you know, I guess non-horror scenes or crazy gory scenes, I don't think anything really feel like filler, so to speak. Obviously, you have, I mean, like any movie, you have to have dialogue and storylines get from one thing to the next, but
yeah.
it just feels like it flows. When I read the script, it just everything just felt natural. We had some surprises in there, of course, and
Mhm.
just felt just things seemed to flow smoothly. I thought
Nice, awesome. So,
would be a good pace.
all right. So the last question I do got for you, is pretty much about anything else you got going on, any other film projects, social media, websites, or anything that you would like to plug to the listening and viewing audience.
Sure. So my next project is and that's so back to Reading from Hell. So another neat thing about it, besides the alumni, so for folks that like those whodunit mystery movies, right? It's the whole like, but for the first and second one, I have a killer
Right.
walking around, and you don't know who it is, right? They're masked up the whole time. It adds to that mystery of who is it and why. And then my next project, so it's a throwback to the Scream movies. And
Okay.
then my next project is a throwback to those like 80s Friday the 13th Woods movies
Okay.
called Bury the Hatchet. And so, Barry is the, I guess, Jason-esque character that's, in the woods, kind of the urban legend, mythology, urban legend, mythical person slash creature who's, stalking his territory. So I get to be one of the campers on that movie. So I think it's actually, the director said it takes place in Tennessee. So I might be heading back to Tennessee in the spring.
Nice.
Which did Reading from Hell 2 at. So that's my next project, is that, because that'll be a lot of fun. Back to the wilderness. Currently I'm still with Hellfire Entertainment Media Group. So for folks that want to listen to horror podcasts, horror shows, this kind of other pop culture stuff, check out Hellfire Entertainment Media Group on Facebook. Our CEO Dawson, his iconic character is Scoops the Clown, and I think you're talking to him too.
Yeah, I can actually look right now. Actually, let me not do that because I don't want to mess the recording up. I can look at my calendar quick.
So I'll probably do a couple
Is
of
on somewhere around here on the 24th.
Okay, yeah, so he'll probably mention that as well. But so Scoops the Clown, SCOOPS. He's our trademark character for Hellfire. Scoop does his own show, his own podcast, does some interview reviews as well. Scoops has been in his own horror movies. Obviously, met him on Climb Hotel too. So I'm still with Hellfire Entertainment. We have some interesting things coming up later this, probably spring or summer actually. So
Awesome.
Our social media group will talk about that, and we'll see where that takes us. I'm in between movies right now and social media. Again, on Instagram, I post a lot of convention picks from horror cons behind the scenes. Michael H. Katz, 4Film with the number 4.
Okay.
Is my IG handle. So
awesome.
So folks, feel free to look me up there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mike, for joining me tonight.
Hey, appreciate having me on, and again, congrats with the book deal.
Thank you so much. You have a great rest of your night.
You, Scotty. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you. Bye.